Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. This is the 12th of February Backdrop CMS User Group meeting. And today we are looking at the different methods you can use for helping your users to find content in Backdrop CMS. We'll be going from the inbuilt functionality within Backdrop itself to some of the more advanced methods that you can bring in with other modules. Mine will start with a round of introductions. My name is Martin Price. I'm Yorkshire Pudding around Backdrop, and I'm a Backdrop developer in North East England. And we'll go to Irina next.
Irina Zaks. I'm working from California Bay Area.
I'll jump in. I'm Tim Erickson, St. Paul Tim, on the internet in Deerwood, Minnesota, where it's above freezing today, so it's sunny.
Wow.
John, do you want to go next?
Sure. John Fireball, Greensboro, North Carolina. Sunny day.
Justin Kaiser, Muncie, Indiana.
How is weather there?
It's not bad. It's warmed up a little bit. The snow is melting.
Great. I won't comment on our weather because I don't want other people to get kind of.
Jealous.
I wish I'm there.
Speaking of weather, though, I am going to Florida Drupal Camp next week.
Great.
And it was really cold down there a few weeks ago, and I posted in their Slack. I was like, man, it's going to be in the 80s now? That's too hot.
Okay.
Well, you have fun. Do you have any stickers left?
I do.
Okay,
Good.
I'll be sure to take them.
That's a good camp to go to. I always enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's been a couple years since I've been there, but it is a good camp. So anybody watching this, it's not too late to sign up for Florida Drupal Camp. There's always been a number of Backdrop people there. So, Martin, do you want to jump in and get us started?
Yeah, I'm gonna jump in and share my screen. Just make that bigger. Right, so hopefully you can all see my screen now, which I'm sharing. This is just a simple website set up with a few bits for demoing things, and it's got a little bit of content. So what we're going to, first of all, Backdrop has views, and one of the things about views is you can add filters on for the user, but you can make your starting view so you can already define where things are. So it gives you a lot of control over what users will see to start with, and then you expose the things that let them drill down to further things. So
Martin,
so we can.
Martin, should we say something sort of contextual about the whole discussion, about this being sort of the simplest form of searching for data?
Yeah, sure. So
I think we sort of jumped right into the meat and potatoes without setting the stage.
I thought we did that in the intro, but
okay.
Yeah. So this is the simplest way of looking for data in my view. I mean, out of the box, you do get a search form that searches it, and views take a little bit of config, but these I would say views tend to be the bread and butter that people start with, and you can actually make them quite powerful in terms of how you filter, and you can provide filters for different fields in different ways. So we're just going to explore that now. And
Yeah.
here we're doing simple search for things that mention bird in the body. So I'm sure it must be in there somewhere.
We do browser search on the page.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was in. Yeah, there we go.
Mhm.
There we go. So giant pandas might eat birds. So in this, I've separated out the filter into the body and the title. So you can search separately for what's in the title and what's in the body. We're going to jump to another view here, and here we've got a combined fields filter. And this is some test data related to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I've already filtered it onto just these particular pages here. But if I now want to see how many mention Ford, helps if I spell it correctly. Then we obviously get an article about Ford Prefect, but he's also mentioned in this other article here, where the Vogon forces Arthur and Ford to listen to his poetry. So we can, by using that combined filter, I'll just show you how we get that in the view. So if I so what happens if we search for combine, then we see this, and you could have multiple instances of this on a view, looking at different fields, and here you get to choose what the operator is. So you can look for contains any word, contain all words, what it starts with. I would think for a combined fields filter, I think normally contains all words is going to be the behavior that people will expect most. So that's what I've done for this one here. You could give people the option to change it, but I haven't there. So that's the introduction to views. Now let's look at search. So this is the search functionality that comes out of the box. So you can configure it in here. You can determine what people can search, whether it's content, user accounts, and if you've got other different things, they can be added into that. Determine what the pager is. You can log searches, and you can limit it to particular content types. And you've got a little bit of choice about how things are ordered. So you might say, actually, whether it's recently posted is much more important. So I'm going to put that to 10, but actually, that's pretty important too if it's promoted. And you can see here if there are any left, but everything's been indexed here. So we don't have to worry. If you've just imported a load of content, it might take a little while to do it. The index is built during cron runs, so which is set. That's the core search functionality, and here we have it. So if we search for Arthur, we will see both the page about Arthur Dent. It's also mentioned in this about page and is mentioned in many of the other articles. When you do a search, it takes you to this advanced search page, which gives, and there is a separate permission for this. So because I'm logged in as an admin, I can see this, but you can leave this for people that are logged in and not enable it for the general public, and then they will just see the search results. You've got choices on that. You can, depends on what your site does as to what's going to be the most appropriate. There are a number of modules that do little extensions to the search functionality. So one particular module, this is a search exclude NID, which stands for search exclude node ID, and it allows to remove certain nodes from the search result. So I've used this on particular sites where content should only be accessed via another, once someone's read another page, and then they would see that link. But there may be other reasons why you want something to be generally visible, but you don't want it to be included in the search results. Maybe it's just not maybe it's just not as relevant to what people are going to be searching for, but it's still important to the site. So that's one of the modules that are available. There's other modules that can give you more granular control over how things are done and can do things like clear the index and things like that. But there are also ways that the search functionality can be extended to use more advanced functionality that are provided by either different services or even cloud services, and that's what we're going to go on to now. So I'm going to stop sharing and hand over to Justin and Irina, who are going to talk about more advanced search strategies.
All right, thanks, Martin. Justin, I'm going to do the next step, which is now we're adding Search API. Search API is a module. I'm going to be doing a demo on the Stanford WebCamp example, and everyone is invited to join us on April 30th and May 1st. Both days should be online. And if you want to fly to California, cordially invited. May 1 is excellent weather here usually. So let's say I want with basic Drupal search, I want to search for backdrop. Here I get search results somewhat randomly. I'm not sure in what order they come and what's the value. The important thing is that word backdrop is highlighted here, so I can kind of find what I'm looking for. I don't think we ever configured sessions to have a search for a particular word. So if I want to find it, I could add filter the way Martin was showing it to find things inside the body of the presentations only. And that allows me to say I only want, it gives me an option to add filters rather than search. And that's important thing that we need to be very clear when we're using filter to filter content that's already presented versus doing the entire search. And the question is, what are we searching for? So quick intro. Thank you everyone who mentored me while I was creating this. We're adding module called Search API. And that creates the engine. And then we need to add at least one additional module, whether it's database search or any others that Justin will give more details. And then we can configure Search API. We need to have the server. I was using database server, so we can add the server and define the service class. These classes are, as far as I know, provided by different modules, and I was using the very basic one. So and then I need to add the index. So on here, I want to say I want to select what I want to select, Justin. So this is an interesting place where I need to learn more things that are very specific to Search API. And the reason why I'm getting into lower level of details is because the results of the search will be defined now on how we configure Search API. And when Justin will begin showing how we're using AI to enhance it, if we skip the part where we're configuring Search API, we will be getting very different results. So this is the foundation for creating meaningful AI search. So if I'm going to create another index that will only search sessions, but not other things, with the same database server, I want to do this. This is where I create an index. And this is foundation that we're putting in for searches. And then here it's very lovely table that asks me which fields I want to index. And one interesting thing that I realized when I was putting together my first index is that on the default index, I decided I didn't specifically mention that I want to check whether include a field that is telling me whether a thing is published or not. And because of that, my results were complete. The fields that were available to me when I was creating view with filters were limited. So here, let me check. What do we want to search? We want to search title. We want to probably look at these things. None of the feeds. We do want to look at moderators, probably not. We don't care for room. We might want to search for session date. And this is where we're creating foundation. Yes.
Where's your like main content?
Sorry?
Where's like the main content? Like where's the session description?
It should be somewhere around body, right? Room, session date, description starts with D. I don't see it here. No. So maybe it is included by default because it wasn't clear to me. There were some things that were included by default. And I didn't have the need to do more deep dive than it was already. But here, so I suspect that, do I uncheck it? Whatever. So now I have two different search indexes. One I prepared and it is ready for use. and the other one is new. I'm not going to go through all the details. I'm just going to go right away to, so this is, now this is index status. If I want to index things, I'm going to index it now. And once things have been indexed, I can see what fields are included or not included. And here are additional options, which are now, I don't think I can change them. So this is something that I need to set up before I'm saving the index. So if I go here, I will see that on the same database, I do have now two different indexes. English is not my first language, so you guys tell me what's the correct pronunciation here.
Indices,
Indices, okay.
maybe?
Yeah,
Martin might have a different take on the plural of that.
I think you're right. Indices.
That sounds right to me.
yeah. So I'm not going to go into linguistics right now, but I'm going to go, to the extent search is linguistics, because the next thing that I do is I have now different option. Now that I've indexed all the things inside my database without using any external engines, and I'm not talking right now about Solr, Algolia, or any other services, only things that are installed using this model internally. I have an option to create results of the search that will be different from this search. So this search is result of the Drupal out-of-the-box search, get results that are defined in layout and themes, but I can say, like, there are options to configure things saying, oh, this is more important, this is less important, but it doesn't give me really enough granularity. So if I now want to use results of this default search index, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go and create a view. And this is a very important thing where I'm going to say, Justin will correct me if I'm doing something wrong. I'm going to say default search index, which is not what I want to do. I want to use the other index. And
Yep.
I guess it will be session.
Yep.
And it would be better if I would call it session index than just session, because naming conventions are great. So this is my sessions, sessions, IONS, sessions API search. And then here I will be this is where I will be configuring. I created the page. I am going to put it into, instead of fields, I'm going to, for now, look at the rendered entity. So I have to do less work. I'm going to use teaser for now. Eventually, if I configure correctly, search result with highlight, it will be much better. And then here I can begin adding filters. And this is where you will see very different things than what you see in filters provided by Drupal. So what Martin was showing is, Martin was showing fields that are defined in the content type. This screen provides me with results of the indexing. So if I want to search by full text search and then I don't know, combine fields filter probably, which is actually out of the box. I don't know if I want to do that. Let's do just this too. This will, I usually use contain because contain any word give me too many results and I need to expose it in the similar way. And then combine fields filter is supposed to ask me which fields I want to use. And it is only giving me fields. So it's giving me more and more options. And then this is where we're getting into any all or none. So the more the merrier. I don't want to have too long presentation, but this is what I'm seeing now. I didn't put any sort criteria. So now I have two views. So we're still using view to show result. This view is based on index that is indexing the entire site. This search is indexing only sessions. You can put indefinite number of filters. And I want to stop here so I can give it to Justin. So this is a foundation that I know about Search API. There's like hours and hours and hours of presentations on the topic, and they come and come more because there are so many options that you can use that we don't have time to present it right now today. I think the important part for this presentation is to show progression and give some idea of what is the right tool for the job. So people can decide when they want to use views filters, when they want to use search APIs, and when they want to move towards search AI. Which tool is sufficient to do their job? So they need to understand who are the people who will be searching and what people are searching for. And we live in interesting times where search is redefined again. So with this, I'm gonna give it to Justin, who is gonna show all kind of very fun things.
Okay.
No pressure, Justin.
Yeah, no pressure. I hope it works. Because I've been experimenting with something today. Let's see. A number of years ago, I did a Backdraft Live presentation that was recorded on using Solar with Backdrop, which is an add-on to Search API. But I haven't touched that in a very long time, so I don't want to talk about Solar. What I have been doing lately is searching with AI, using the Search API AI module to index content in a vector database. And this allows semantic searching. So if you have you have a website full of content about recipes, say, and there are Italian recipes in the site, but somebody goes and searches for Italy. In normal circumstances, if you don't set up like synonyms in your search index, it's not going to find any of those articles on of Italian recipes. However, the AI search will, because it knows that Italy and Italian are the same thing. So to use the Search API AI, you do need the OpenAI module, and at the very least, an OpenAI key to use ChatGPT. And you also need a backend database to store all of your information in. And the two that work are Pinecone and Milvus. So once I have all of those things, then I can create indexes like Arena was talking about, but I have a number of them in this site. I have the default node index that she was talking about. And I also have a number of AI indexes saving it to different backends.
So Milvis, Pinecone, those are all just different options.
Those
For
are
save-
different. Those are my different vector databases. This is
Right.
saving to Zillus Online. This is a local Milvis one. This is Pinecone Online, and this is a local Milvis one using different embedding models and LLM models.
Right. So to clarify, some of those are connecting to online services, but some of them can't be hosted locally.
Correct.
Justin, quick question. Do you want to mention something about vector database or not at all? Because it's not brand new and it's a reasonably new concept somewhat. So, or we want to move on with AI. I'm not sure what's more important.
Well, I think we could talk about the general idea of vector databases and what this is doing. So vector databases are going to store embeddings, which are created from your content. And the embeddings are, it turns your content into a bunch of numbers, a collection of numbers. Multiple dimensions, like 1,536 collections of numbers for each piece of content that you're indexing in the database. And then when you do the search, the reason it works semantically is that it turns your search query into those embeddings as well, a bunch of numbers, and it matches those numbers against the numbers in the database and brings back the most closely related content.
Is it similar in any way to what Search API were doing when they were indexing content, but in not as extensively, or is it a different concept? I just
It's a different concept because of the semantic nature of the search. If you don't set up the synonyms in your database search or your Solr search to say Italy matches Italian or German matches Germany or content management system equals backdrop.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. It won't do it. But the semantic AI search will automatically, because it will be able to figure out that those things are more or less the same.
So this is coming from one of AI engine, I don't know whether it's called engines, agents, whatever. So somebody is doing that part of matching for you now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The module in the background is doing the matching. So when you set up your index with this, you have to have the node ID and you have to have a field selected as embeddings. And this is what is going to get turned into the numbers that go into the database. And it gets complicated if you've got multiple fields that have content in them, or if you're using paragraphs that aren't a body field, because it's hard to get to paragraph fields. So there's a setting that you skipped over, Irina, on the filters, which there's a setting here to, as far as the nodes published and unpublished, where you can tell it to only index published nodes. So you don't have to actually index whether it's published or not.
Yes, I did miss it.
Yeah,
okay.
You can say exclude unpublished nodes. It'll only index published things.
That is very helpful.
But there is this complete entity view checkbox, which brings up this setting in the middle of the page, and you can decide which view mode of the content you're actually going to index. So there's one of these called search index, but you can build a view mode that is specific to, this is exactly what I want to on the page that gets indexed in the database. And you can do that with any search API index. But in this case, since I'm using paragraphs instead of a regular body field, that's what I want to actually index is the entity HTML output that is going to be the full view. And I select the embeddings over here to do that. So what does it do? Do I have that open? I don't have that open. Aha. So here's my local vector database with all of my content in it. I'll go to the Alama one because it's the one I've been using a lot. So if I go to the data tab here, it shows what is actually in the database. So here is the field with all of the numbers in it. It looks like gobbledygook, but there's all 1,536 sets of numbers. Oh, maybe this embedding model only stores 768. I think this one has 768 collections of numbers for each chunk of content that goes in from the site. And then all of the other fields that I had selected for the index go in as contextual content, let's say. There's the title in there, and there's the NID, and there's the URL, and everything else that I picked on that page. And after I create the index and then index it and it goes into the database, we can build a view of the search results, much like Arena did. Because my Milvus and Alama index is there in the, I can create a page, rendered entity. Add my full text. The one thing you want to do here is, oh, it's not there. See if it actually works. I definitely got results. The problem with the AI results sometimes is that generative AI can hallucinate. So it's generally taking these results and then adding it back into the LLM to get a result back. And it can make things up. So you can counteract that by stacking the AI results on top of the database results. And that's what I tend to do. This is the real site implementation. And I have the database view, the database search. Oh, that's not where I want to be. I have a filter here, a processor, boost database by AI search. And then I select the AI search database that I want to use and set a relevance score and the number of AI results to return. So what this is going to do is it's going to take the AI results first and then display the database results after that. So you get the best of both worlds. Let's see if I have a view on here of just the database or yep, I do.
So I think one thing that would be very helpful for people who are watching and considering implementing AI search, one thing that might be helpful, as I said, is what is the cost of this, both time-wise in terms of time to configure this, and also what's the amount of money that site owners should be prepared to pay if they're using I don't know whether it's OpenAI specifically or any other AI search.
Well, I can't answer it specifically, but it depends on, it's going to depend on your site and the amount of searching that goes on. Because yes, every single time somebody searches, if you're using this, you're going to be hitting an API, whether it be OpenAI or Anthropic or any of the whatever you're using for your provider.
Yeah, I think it's very helpful to have some guidelines or at least source of information, because if a site owner say, oh, we definitely need AI search because everyone has AI search, and then it's been implemented, and then within the next 3 months they face a huge bill, this is a situation where they just need to be aware of the costs of what they're doing or what they're requesting.
You do have to be aware that it's going to increase your API costs if you're not using it for that already. But at least in my case, and I implemented this on multiple sites, it did not go up dramatically. And the backend vector database that I'm using, Zilla's, it's a negligible cost too, at least in my case.
Do you use anything like anti-bots to prevent bots from putting things in the...
I do have anti-bot installed, and I'm trying to get anti-scan tweaked so it doesn't keep blocking me. But I don't think I've found the bot traffic problems that other folks have found with this type of searching. But I don't use a bunch of exposed filters to turn on and off either. That's where people can get stuck. So these were the AI results when I searched for Arizona. And I may not get very much different. thinking about it a lot. Yeah, it's similar. But let's jump ahead to the fun implementation of this. This is the end result. So I've got a chat bot here, and I've got a search block. So if I ask this, like, how do I donate to the foundation? It's going to search my vector database in my database, and it's going to come back with a textual chatbot response, and then it's going to show the regular old search results underneath it. And this is a submodule inside the Search API AI module called the Search API AI search block. So that's the view that both Martin and Irina talked about of your search results, but it has this AI like Google search results at the top. Here's a plain text response on top of the regular old database search.
Nice.
No, wrong website. This one. So I don't have that completely publicly available on that previous site. But the same is available here. So if I search this site for beginner airplanes, it took that search from the header and then it transposed that from the header to the search block search on my search page. And it's given my chatbot response. And then it's going to load the database results underneath it. And I think this is this is like where search is now. This is something that somebody expects.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, I think it's really cool. And if you're interested on the back end of this search block module, it actually logs all of the searches and what the query was, what the response was when it happened. I've got a bunch of them on this site. If I can find it. So I can see exactly what people are searching for in the site and what the results were.
You may have mentioned this, Justin, but I don't know if you did the site context module, because the value, the value of seeing those search questions and results is if you're seeing answers that maybe aren't as accurate as you'd like, you can use the search context module, the site context module, right?
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. Because
like this foundation site, we have a staff page with the current staff members, who the current foundation director is. And then we have a board page with all of the current board members. However, the blog in this site dates back, I don't know, over a decade. And there have been several foundation directors and several different people on the staff and several different people on the board over these years. So the AI search isn't going to know, it's going to think that the director from 5 years ago is just as valid of an answer as the current one, unfortunately. So I have a site context module, if I can find it. Yes. That you can add instructions as guardrails for safety and information about the website that you're on. And when this module is turned on, all of these guardrails and all of this global context prompt get sent with every single query to OpenAI or your provider that you're using. And I've listed all of the current staff and all of the current board members in this site context. And drifting away from specifically AI search, if I turn this off and I go to my, I'm gonna just test the general chat. So I have it using OpenAI GPT-4o Mini, and I'm gonna say, what is the AMA? And it's going to come back with saying, well, that's, of course, the American Medical Association, or ask me anything, right? But in the context of this site, since it's about the Foundation for the Academy of Model Aeronautics, that is not a good answer. But if I turn on the site context, and I go back and ask the same question, I get the answer that I wanted. All of these are logged too.
Excellent.
So let's see this one. This is this is probably the one without it. Yeah. So this is the request data that I sent, and it was just simply your helpful assistant and my question. And that's when I got ask me anything. But the one when I got the right answer, you can see that all of those guidelines and all of that site context information were sent along as the messages with my query, which gave me the right answer. And this site context goes along with the embeddings for the site search too. Should we talk about the related content?
I suppose we could mention it quickly. I'll just say Justin has been working with me to implement a bunch of this on one of my client sites. You can go ahead. So, and the related content is something we're specifically interested in. So do you want to mention that quickly?
Yeah, we can mention it quickly. So a byproduct of having all of your content in the vector database and being able to search it is that you can get very good related content for specific nodes Like you can go to an article and have a block show up at the bottom of the 3 most closely related articles to the article that you're on, because what it's doing is sending the text of your current article off to the search in the vector database and doing a match with the content that's in there and bringing back the 3 most closely related articles.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a kind of search. It's a very specific niche kind of search, right? It's searching for related content. Okay, well, and on that note, Justin and I have been testing, and Justin, I have been testing. Justin has been fixing bugs, and I just uploaded the latest version of the related content module, so we're ready to
I
test.
gotta go see if it works.
Okay. Should we go ahead and wrap this up? I think we've
Yeah.
went for a full hour.
Yeah.
I'm gonna mention one other search thing really fast. And it kind of goes back to the beginning. I don't know if any of you guys have ever used this before. But oops, well, let's just open up a new tab. There is a module called Google CS. It's actually, I had it open, I closed it.
I've used that too.
Google CSE, and the client or somebody had implemented on this site before we got to this site. So I didn't actually configure this. I'm not an expert on it. But if you search for like bears on this site, the primary search results are actually generated by Google using this module. So rather than using a local index or default backdrop search, it just goes out and does a Google search of this site for that word and delivers responses. On this particular site, we have 2 tabs, so you can actually do the default backdrop search, or you can do the Google search. We're planning to replace these both with AI search in the near future. But I just wanted to point that module out to people, that Google _CSE is kind of a really basic way to tap into Google if you're so inclined. Okay. I think we're done. Should we, do we have our next topic? I'm looking right now, but I think I'm looking on the wrong document. What we're doing here quickly, we've been trying to plan our user group topics a few weeks in advance. And so what I'm doing right now is quickly trying to find what our next scheduled topic is. And it might be that we're running out of.
I think we're scheduled to have a contributed modules show and tell.
So this is, that would be in 2 weeks, right? So that's the next one on the agenda, is a contributed module show and tell, where anybody can bring a contributed module they've been working on. I love this idea. I'm looking forward to it. But if we needed to juggle our schedule, well, that's like kind of a fluid one. But for now, I would say I don't know that anybody else is looking to present in 2 weeks. So let's plan on that. The following 2 weeks later is March 12th, and that date is open. So if you have a topic you'd like to present and on March 12th, let us know. Okay, let's wrap it up. Okay, I got a meeting to get to soon, so thanks everybody, and we'll see you in 2 weeks for the next user group. And still haven't hit the stop button.